Paano ito? Comment. Therefore, the horrible place, said one of my students upon the leaving the class, is the comment hardly about the whisper after I had introduced them Dante's Inferno. You're right, said her friend. I sure don't want to go there. I have sometimes heard modern Catholics try to dismiss Dante's medieval and indulging himself too much in the gross of delight in seeing a sinner punished in the particular way. My response to that, as I tell my student, is that focus of Dante would only use the earthly imaginations to try to the pictures of for us what means for a human souls to be separated from God, His source and end, for the eternity, but the imagination is not up to the task. The reality must be far worse. Be that as may be in his candid and uncompromising yet tender-hearted work, Father Paul Pearson showed that he understood what Dante was all about. He meant to provide us with a cautionary and admonitory tales, so that he and we could not fall for the evil that enemy hold forth for us. The Inferno is not presumptuous outline of what lies in store for adulterer, loan shark, con artist, assassins, and traitor. Is a profound analysis of what sin actually does. To the human soul, we need not wait for the entrance into hell, for the punishments to begin. It begins with the sin. In fact, it is the sin sitting in the root down into the souls and deforming it, draining it the health. Dante's never merely show us that the things is evil. He show us in the sense of the great dramatic power what the evil is and what it does, both to the doer and to the human community. Father Person has written for the benefits of the Christian who wants the best and the most honest advice on how to advance in the spiritual life, or how simply to say on the right road of the pilgrims, and not robbed and beaten bloody by the temptations that would waylay us. At the very step of his command are wise and clear. Do not fail into your courage, he say at the outset, suggesting to us what it might feels like, and the end of our lives to know what we could have accomplished something good or the greater for the Lord, but did not do so, because we are timid and lukewarm in our love for not. Do not be mastered your own passion. He say again and again, no matter whether they are for physical pleasure, what is something called love, or for gain, what is something called ambition, or for the indulgence of wrath. And it is fascinating to see in our time that the society exhausted with loss must turn to the political hatred and persuaded itself that it is still alive. But the Pearson advice it's not merely negative against and again to remain us, that Jesus died for us, for our sin, and that God loved us with a relentless love. If only we could be humble enough to accept that love, to knowledge that we cannot ourselves. We are on the journey, all of us, as he assuredly say, the detail may be differ from the pilgrims to pilgrims, but the journey is the same. And the way is the same. I am the way, the truth, and the life, say the Lord. So it would be foolish in us not to profit from that wisdom to those who have gone before us. But the person sees in Dante that same spiritual advice that you will find in others who have written about the spiritual life, particularly in the founder of the Oratory, Saint Philip of Neri. Dantes needed the assistance of a guide, Virgil, an embodiment of human reason, to deprive of the gospel to make his way down to spiraling circle of hell. Father Persons is himself a worthy, trustworthy guide for the reader, whether he is already a lover of Dante, or whether he is a green and perhaps even a bit daunted by the prospect of the reader, an epic poem, and seminarians at the oratory where I have been reading and teaching Dante Divine Comedy for the 30 years, and so you might think it unlikely that I would come upon the wise interpretations I had not encountered and thought of before. But Father Person was provided just that I done so with a grace and ease that is immediately appealing. A final point, we are coming upon the 70th anniversary of completions of the Divine Comedy, says Father Persons a few years ago. We are the lover of Dante mark the 750th anniversary of the poet's birth. Modern man may believe that he has nothing much to learn from the old Florentine. Modern man is a fool if he believes so. He is incorruptible and inventor of the wills, moral and cultural, artistic and theological wills, but unlike the wills of old, those who modern man bum clumsy along, because the modern man is impatient with the natural law, and it will not deign to make his wills around. Father Person sees not only that we can learn much from Dante, he sees that we had a better start learning and that we can have rushing time of it as well. The year 2020, mark of the 700th anniversary of completion of Dante's Comedy. The anniversary of the one of the most important literary work of the medieval ages would be able a justifications for the publications of a new book of Dante, especially for someone trained as medieval. But I must admit that I had no conscious intentions of writing one. This book is really begun on the library or the scholarly confidence, but in a seminary chapel at a spiritual conference. More than 25 years ago, I was instructed in new crops of a seminarians in Lectio Divina, a mention of meditating on the text of the scriptures, drawing from its applications of our own individual life and forming particular resolution for us to follow. And to put our prayer into effect, it quickly became obvious that prayer was not where its conference needed to begin. Its fine points and meditations were not a problem. Reading the interpreting the scriptural text was their main stumbling block. The metaphor and parable of the gospel might as well have been a foreign language of sons of them. But this young man needed to understand the scriptural passage and profoundly if they were to pray with them in a way that would transform their own lives. Ultimately, if they were effectively to draw on them to preach, the congregation around the world sometimes needed to be done. I decided to offer a seminar on the Dante's Inferno in which we would have read the text together, aloud, and interpret. It was we went along the passage by passage. The course would be functions like an apprenticeship in the reading of spiritual literature, and we would practice together. I intentionally did not tell them that the Inferno was the epic poetry that might be more than they would be willing to bear. This approach seems to make some sense to me, since Dante himself had said that he ended to write the Dante Divine Comedy in the manner that God revealed the scriptures, timidly using the variety of the level of meaning. The skills we might develop reading Dante's would be transferable to the reading of the scriptures. But what would this young man make a poem from 1320 about hell? They seems even more distant from Dante's world than the comparisons of the dates would suggest, and they certainly were not binding scholar for medieval poetry. Was my own love for Dante's comedy and the training binding me to what would be productive for this young seminary? Could they possibly connect with the text? All true. They were at the first quite independent upon my regular intervention. To help them to make sense of the text, they were almost immediately fascinated by it. What Dante was saying moved them. They might be fans of poetry, but they had entered the seminary because they were interested in pursuing the path toward the holiness and helping others walk the path with them, and they found in Dante's text, unexpected, the source of the help of the journey. His text seems a natural fit for them as they began to focus on spiritual life with a greater dedications, and so the Inferno Seminary soon become the features of seminary. With a student who had just completed the course of encouraging the next year, the student to require it, later Seminar Purgatorio and Paradiso were also being offered. Once they had to begin the journey with Dante, they wanted to continue. I want only hope that the excitement that reading Dante was generated in the year of seminary and spiritual nourishment they had to receive as the result of their reading his text will be shared by the wider reader. The original experience of approaching the Inferno with the seminarians also shaped my culture, my current text. This book has some things of the twofold purpose. It tried to provide the running commentary for a modern reader with a primarily spiritual interest who is currently reading the Inferno. I hope that line-by-line commentary will provide serious reader with experience similar to what the seminary had class, and will be help the readers who might be otherwise to be intimidated by the Dante's comedy to take one of the project reading it on their own. But there is the second motivation for this book as well. Dante's insight and imaginary are so powerful and revealing that anyone interested in the life of the spirit, whether inclined to the reading of the classic of literature or not, would be immersed in them. For the reason this book also offered the topical headings to guide the reader with a primary spiritual interest to a particular spiritual topic in the text. Someone interested in the evil, violence, and crime can Dante's treat easily if betrayal of trust. Is that what concerns you? For the following reader, to where Dante's meet those who betrayed family, friends, or their country. Dante's might be poet writing long ago, but he is a Christian of incredible spiritual and psychological perceptions. His image each of themselves into the souls. They have the power to change life. At the time of publications of this volume, the Toronto Oratory is in the midst of capital campaign in renovation. An important part of the purpose of the campaign is that constructions of a new building and commemorate the growing number of seminary for St. Peter Seminary, which is under direction of Toronto Oratory. The dormitory space and new class will make possible to training a new generation seminary for the church, and for the adoration and campaign of loyalty from this book will be contributes to the building fund. Perhaps it should not come to surprise then that he is a volume and dedicates to Seminary of St. Philip's Seminary past, present, and future. It's continued to be an honor to be involved in the formations of a good dedicated priest. I hope that they who have entered seminary with the intention of becoming saints themselves and leading others on the path will follow the footsteps of Dante Inferno, whose divine calling it was to guide the readers from the darkness, fear, and confusion of this crazy world of ours, out of sea once more in the stars. Love of Dante comedy was installed in me at the relatively early age by the effort of some very fine teacher. All the way back in the high school, we were being introduced a large excerpt of the Inferno, enterprising young teacher of university and graduate school in cemented in connections and Cornwall College in the Western Civilizations program with William Carl I. I was guided through the complete comedy for the first time. Ashley Kander Almos of the Pontifical Institution of Medieval Study in Toronto encouraged me to investigate the fascinating structures in Dante's works. In her vernacular literature course, she pushed me at the time to publish the finding, but it was taking me well over the 35 years to take her kind advice. I wish I could have spoken with her about the project. May she rest in peace. I thank you, the member of my community. It has been said that the rising of childs take a village, but it is certainly true that confirming seminary takes the community in their different way. They all contribute to the success of seminary through the teaching and spiritual directions and merit task of making a housing and feeding and dusting people. Possible without the support, I could not have completed this book. I remember with the gratitude and seminary of St. Philip Seminary, they were all original inspiration of the teaching, of course, on the Inferno. They have focused on the rethink and clarified my thoughts in the way nothing by the classroom of the students can do for me. I could not have written the commentary except the byproduct of our debates in class and discussions in my office. Many of them had provided materials about Dante's, encouraged me about publishing this text. I hope they understand what is important part they have to play in the formations of this text and in the day-to-day happiness of my life. Throughout the years, I have made use a great number of wonderful translations of Divine Comedy. Dante's works was drawn the attentions of some amazing talented translators. Each one brought something beautiful and splendid to the wonderful task of the reading of Dante's. It is an exercise in literary wonder to read and compare their attempt to capture the dignity of the music of Dante's verse. Dorothy Sayre, John St. Clair, Mark Musa, Alan Mandelbaum, and even Naxos' recording of the Divine Comedy, read aloud, have all had regular place in the classroom. The rendering of the text and their notes have inspired and guided us along the way, but special thanks to go on to Anthony Solon. Since the translation had appeared them, they have been the text and choice for our seminary, and clarity and spiritual sensitive had been a great gift to us. And reference I make within the text to Dante words are almost always to Solon's fine translations. Reader could do not better than to have it open beside them as they have make their way through this book, reading Dante's text the little at time, while reading these commentaries along with it, knowing the hesitations about the writing. God seems to have provided an almost embarrassing crowds of friends to support and push me. Several of them had read the text in one versions to another. Thank you to my very first reading, Veronica and Bill, Donna and Danielle. In the particular, it took an entire family to get me an autograph. While Scully's family helped me to overcome my discomfort, my dear friends and good rumor, the works and complete family effort. Getting the text is ready for the publications is the long process. It's begun the earnest with the Father Juvenal Merrill providing a suggestion and correction for me. I especially appreciate with a keen of historical mind and scriptural knowledge. He put me on the right tracks on my occasions. My own feelings overwhelmed at the idea of presenting the book of publication left me rather paralyzed. The text was relatively complete, but I have done nothing about looking for the publisher. Another Oratorian confrere came to the rescue, Father Daniel Arch, the author of the very important of Lion of Munster, was my literal mark maker, introducing me to the editor of Ton Books, John Morehouse. John has been generous and understanding about the coming and my first time anxiety. He has made the process as a painless possible at the time. It has been very enjoyable. My final thank you goes to the man named Dante Alighieri. His work is still bearing fruit after the 700. Then reading this text, I know I am in the presence of literally gain, but even more important to me, also the intense and serious Christian soul. Here is a man firmly dedicated getting his souls to heaven, to bring all of us along with him. There is no greater work than that. A list of a great book classic that every educated person should have read can seem to inspire the first we might think of ourselves as here in my intellectual project for the next few years, away from the arranging my mind in privacy and comfort of my own home. Perhaps we begin at the top of the list, chronically with Homer, or perhaps we look for something we think will be gentler intellectual warm up for our minds and unaccustomed as they now are, if they ever were, of such an exertion. But the list of impressively and intimidating long one, if the size of the list is not enough to discourage one for even the beginning and difficulty presented by the text from the very different culture and distance, age can seem daunting. I found it so much easier to track this great work as the student was merely because I was younger then, or was it because I had a guide to experience the difficulty and the classmate whom I could discuss my own perceptions while I was compiled with a listen to their. For many people with wholesome project and making one way through the classic is often set aside, not exactly rejecting but put on the short of the permanent hold. Many people would place Dante Divine Comedy in their list of a great book. Dante is someone we really should read. He is, by all report, one of the literary great of the human race has produced, not a mentions for the founding father of Italian literature. So, why have we not read this greatest work yet? What is it that holds us back? The reason a modern reader might be hesitated to pick up the Dante's Comedy are the subtitle of the varied, the first amounts to the sore intellectual and further complex. We absolve ourselves from the reading of these unquestionable great works by telling ourselves that the reading an epic poem written 700 years ago about something so dry and there to hell and obviously something best left to expert. Like many things that we are told are good in themselves, perhaps reading Dante's should come with a warning. Do not try this at home, especially in the medieval study in the literature and or Florentine history or the theology are welcome to slug their way through the text, but it would be wasted on me so that the little voice inside us might say, there is something true in what the little voice say. There is a certain enough in Divine Comedy to keep several different graduate department of many university VC infidelity for the 700th anniversary of the complete of Divine Comedy. Those especially would undoubtedly be very busy adding to the expressive collections of the serious intellectual works already dedicated to Dante's. He might have ended his life in exile from the homeland, but he was being treated with enormous respect and venerations by the army of the scholar around the world. But the truth is that Dante did not write the Divine Comedy primarily for this specially. He wrote as for much wider audience, and the audience was bored. As the church itself, he wrote it for anyone serious about the spiritual life. He wrote it for anyone interested in going to heaven, about of his own limitation and failing. It is the work of amazing complexity, but it also the very direct and immediately communicating truth from the struggling souls to another. That is he himself, not only a literary craftsman, theologian, political philosopher, and the crusader for the justice. All true, he is definitely all true. Definitely all of these things more fundamental than those secondary world. Dantes present himself as a sort of a spiritual everyman, a pilgrim who present each one of us on the journey he has. What he experienced on the pilgrimage is something common to us all. His struggle with the familiar to the very people of whom he writes. He wants to inspire serious believers to follow him on the road of the conversion, inspiring literary scholars to write articles. And the book is not enough. It consciously takes up the task of converting heart and changing life. If any scholars read his work, he was fallen in tragedy short of his goal. Dante at last hint at the spiritual mission, the opening line of Inferno. Midway upon the journey of our life, first, what is going through is not something particular to him. It is the part of the human condition. He is not undertaking the journey of his own life only, but the journey of our life. The lessons he learned are intended for us as well, and the benefits he received on the way and the promise made to him belong to us. Dante's special mission to lead others on their spiritual path. He himself was troubled in more than something we glean from opening world. Dante's report that it was entrusted to him by none other than Saint Peter himself. Wow. In his account on his journey to the paradise, these are the words of Saint Peter spoke to him. And sing the truth about the company and comfort yourself and other with hope, power, hope, and on earth stir love for the true good. Paradiso 25, 43, 45. Dante is to take an experience of hell, purgatory, and blessedness of heaven. Back to the earth, to the candle of his own heart, and the hearts of the reader desire and hope to share in that blessedness himself. He was being guaranteed the journey both of his own conversions and salvations, but also for his training as sort of missionary for heavenly hope. Dante's intent, this book is for you. It is not be over your head, but it is will challenge your heart. Many contemporary Christians would hesitate to read the Inferno for the second and more theological reason. The very notion of an eternal punishment seems the first glance of contradicted our image of a loving and merciful God, because as many modern thinkers like to tell themselves, they have moved well behind the medieval notions of a divine vengeance. In the modern and worldwide, God merciful love and eternal punishment of hell does not seem to be reconcilable, and so in our society we hear less and less about even the possibility of hell. Even Catholics seems to give an ever decreasing amount of attention of eschatology, death, judgment, heaven, and hell. We seems to be losing the tradition of praying for the souls of the dead. Praying for them implies that there is an uncertainty about their spiritual state after death, and uncertainty that we are not ready to admit. Many people seems to assume that the death means immediately enter into heaven, and that so when people die, eulogies are given, that they celebrate their life, masses are celebrated in the white. That tells us to be confident in the resurrection. We develop an ever-increasing list of epidemics for the dead to allow us to avoid even naming the reality. People no longer die, they merely pass That is an unwelcome subject. Reading the entire book about eternal judgment might seem unspeakable foreign and distasteful to the commentary of Christian might call all of these comfortable modern assumptions into questions. But perhaps the questioning of their assumption is not necessarily a bad thing. What if the scholarship in a focus are not healthy theological develop, but rather to defense mechanism for avoiding difficult truth? Our Lord Himself bringing to the good news. It is the source of most of the reference of hell, eternal punishment in the scriptures. This is not something later Christians invented. It goes back to the Christ Himself. He came to us to offer the possibility of salvation, to put before us the choice between life and death. He comes into spiritual forgiveness so that we can escape the eternity and the happiness. But only if we are willing to accept the forgiveness and turn away from the separated us from Him. Believing in a merciful and loving God does not eliminate the possibility of judgment or eternal punishment. God offers us the opportunity for loving relationship with Him, a gift almost possible to imagine. But a loving relationship is not really a relationship if it's one-sided. It's required the reciprocity of mutual love. There is no questions, but God desires our salvation. The question is whether we desire it. It would be horrible to imagine a universe created by God who cared nothing for us. But it is a horrible sad to consider the world is which God creature seems to care so little for Him or for themselves. We seem willing to jeopardize our relationship with Him for passing a pleasure. We seem willing to gamble our own happiness on things which we know at least deep down will not satisfy. Dantes clearly believed in God and merciful love. His understanding eternal punishment is not something imposed by God, and as thought we were spending of eternity hurling pain and vengeance upon the unfortunate soul. Dante's depictions of hell is surprisingly free from the stock picture of punishment. Being inflicted, there are the most no evil with a pitchfork in the inferno. When they do appear, they prove a sort of comic relief. The horrible sadness of hell resides not so much in the various punishments themselves. What really hurt is the fact that they are himself imposed by the souls of those who hold on their own sins, rather than accept the wonderful offer of the divine love. The punishment of hell arises from our rejection of God, not His rejection for us. It a twisted desire that inflicts the pain, not God. It is constantly intervening. They encourage us to escape into the merciful arms. The subject matter itself will provide the third reason for some people to avoid reading the Inferno. Reading a book about soul who suffer forever in hell might seem indicate a morbid fascination with the death of eternal punishment and twisted the torture and psychological, but morbid fascination of a certain not an element of Dante's personality. He was no narrow-minded, scrupulous religious fanatic. He spent the first part of his life deeply involved in politics, which earned him exile. The writing of love of poetry, he is a man with a great personal balance and shocking clear and psychological insight. The most modern reader would never expect for medieval author. Dantes does not write the Inferno so that his reader can indulge the evangelistic tour in which the reader is invited to stare at those sinners down there with their horrible but definitive inventive suffering. In his narrative, there is nothing for the smug self-congratulations that we often associate with the moral doctrines. Dante is right for much more hopeful reason. He is convinced that suffering of hell are really just a distillation of a moment and snapshot of the natural and byproduct of sins. Side effect, we are already begin and experience here in this life. What we see there is the revelation of a true nature of sin. Once alluring, disguise and strap away. As a result, Inferno is not merely about them. It is about us. It is not only about the way we might be. Someday, it reveals the way we are right now. Dante's described for the torment of hell are the spiritual and psychological reflections on the twistedness of the sin. Twistedness that cause us to suffer terrible, but often is unexpected the hidden way. This suffering might seem to arise from nowhere, or from the very fabric of human existence, making our life seems desperate and the search of happiness fertile. It's suffering and somehow built right into the life, then we can hope for nothing better than what we already have dismissed up. World is as good as it gets. We are left with a human life and seems to correspond with Thomas Hobbes, the famous distressing for the stimulation, solidarity, poor, nasty, and bruiseless, and the short, identifying a cause of the suffering that is so obvious in our world, as Dante's attempt to do here, is not morbid in its hopeful, once the source of the pain is located there. Exists the hope of cure, diagnosis, and produce. Preside the treatment of the life of sins bring with necessary and the side effect of suffering, then the life of virtue hold out to us, promise a true and enduring happiness. Deserting and psychological of sins is a part of Dante's message of a hope life to be different, because we can be different if only we choose to get back on the path of virtue. But all these justifications for not reading the Inferno are based as the misinterpretation of Dante's intention. The modern reader who steer clear of Dante's is doing so much probably because he is missing Dante's point. The point he declares is chose the little Dante Divine Comedy. Many modern readers will read a word comedy, expect something funny. But classical understanding of comedy is both broader and deeper. According to the dramatic traditions that dates is the least from the ancient Greek, drama happens in the two distinct forms of the following indifference trajectories. One short begin with a simply lyric and a peaceful scenes and appear stables in shore, but fall apart because of some hidden flaw or injustice. This is tragedy and the story of the disintegration of the human happiness. But there is another sort of drama, one of the begin with what appears to be horrible and complicated mess. There is a little hope as and resolutions of this difficulty. The characters are almost stuck there, and possibility of their happiness, but something happened. Often unexpected interventions of the most miraculous and revealings the north, and the happiness seems impossible. Now, the reality is that this is the comedy. When Dante chooses to call his poet a comedy, he is informing the readers of what they think. What he think can be just can be trajected of our life. We begin in the mess of our fallen human nature, a mess further complicated by our own history of hurts and personal sin. We get the entangled that we can be despair of ever finding our way to freedom. We can find it difficult to imagine being free. We are stuck in our mess, but an intervention happened. It is general way his assistance from the outside is an image of God's grace and the works in our soul, most particular through his entry into our world. Through the incarnation, he brings with him new power, new possibility, but acting his own word. Very particular as well, each one of us is being showered with the grace. Each one of us is being supported by prayer. His work together almost conspiring for our salvation. With this awareness of infinite power and support of heaven, we can enter our spiritual life with attitude and completely transform. Everything is possible, even our becoming saint. If Dante poem is truly a comedy, it is less about hell itself than about the wonderful escape that God has planted for each of us. The mess of our lives needs not permanence. We are not doomed to a life without joy. But for the comedy to unfold properly, we need to step enthusiastically into our rule. We must accept God's offer of the forgiveness and turn away from our disorder and attachment that stand in the way of happiness, both here and forever. The first Dante survey is ruin of his life in exile, stripped of his position and his reputation, and saw nothing but tragedy. Everything he had to seems to have loss. He is neither saw the cause of our own bitterness, nor had desire to detach himself from it. He looked at heaven interventions and strived through hell and to turn his life around. He write of his journey, of the hope of our path we can divert it to, and to invite us to come with him on his journey, to look an ugly cause of a human bitterness, to discover the way of our pain, is recalling the creases of every soul must encounter. He wants us to know there is a way out of the dark wilderness in which we find self. We too can be discovered. The comedy is scripted for us and for the eternity. Welcome to the journey. The Inferno. Wandering from the path, self-sabotage in a spiritual life, rejecting our false self-reliance, learning to hate sin. Nothing can expose our vulnerability more vividly than experience of being lost. Perhaps we had been hiking confidence through the wilderness insecure in our sense of directions, enjoy the splendid scenery and basking in the beauty of creation. Life is good. A moment comes, however, when the expected landmark is not where we calculated it would be. Nothing seems to indicate the right path. Perhaps we dance around trying to find the path, but our growing sense of panic since makes matters feel more desperate, and since none of our friends or family knows where we are hiking, no one will know to begin to look for us. We are on our own. The world that moment ago since the beautiful and comforting now seems treating and through the and conspiring against us, tracking us down like a predator. Out to get us, we are alone and afraid. How do we manage to get off the path? How could we have been careless? It is our own fault. We know that. But realizing only makes us feeling worse. But this wandering takes on eternal importance when we have lost the path of the journey to God. Our life, the opening line, draw us into the narrative Dante's intended. His account of his own personal struggle against sins to be more than autobiography. It is intended as a short a parable of human condition. All through much of what Dante say highly personal in nature, almost confessional. We are meant to take the journey with him, to learn the lessons and can apply to our own lives. Saint Philip Neri would agree wholeheartedly. He had a maxim that his follower recorded after his death. He who does not go down into hell while he is alive ran a great task of going there after he is dead. November 15. Welcome to the spiritual journey. Enter into it with the eyes and ears open, and even more important, with a heart open. This is for you. The real sense of is about you. We offer bluster when we are lost, confused, and whether we are pretended to know where we are and where we are going. We pretend to be outrageous, but we know in our heart of a heart that we are indulging in make-believe, whistling in the graveyard. Dante's reaction of being lost, however, is very straightforward and honest. He is afraid, so afraid, and that he can hardly bear remember it. We might avoiding admitting it, but life often brings this sort of fear out in us, especially when we seem have lost our way. We cover up as a lack of confidence or a bad self-concept. But the truth of the matter is that we too are afraid. Dantes wants us to face the fear we encounter in our lives without the need of retreat and play acting. The darkness of our life, we are all have it. It's a frightening. Let us not pretend this fear is really the theme of the first couple of cantos of the Inferno. We might know when we discover ourselves to be lost, but just exactly when we become lost is unclear. How we can get lost is often difficult to pinpoint because it is culminations of a thousand of little choices. The product of the lukewarm more often determine evil. There usually is not a dramatic moment when we are closely, decisively to leave the path. We wander more than choose. A little of the path were the little more there. Then, when did he stop saying those prayers that are once too regular a part of our life? When did that bad habit really become a habit? It is a death by the thousand cut. Wow. Perhaps that is why Dante's recognitions that he is lost happen only midway. Upon the journey of a life, it takes a while to get ourselves truly off track. The modern world would refer to his as a sort of mid-life crisis, a product of innumerable choices that lands on us in a place we had intention of entering. We are whilst bewildered. How did we get here? How did it come to this? What happened? Dantes described himself at the time of his wandering as so full of sleep. Perhaps he is referring to the way of passion can lead us, the intellect, into the sort of moral slumber, dulging and conscience, so that we are barely noticed. When we leave the path, we become so accustomed to the wrong we do, so weary to frighten that we comes to a place where we really stop noticing that what we are doing is in the fact wrong. Conscience has been looted by lullaby of the world and our body desire. Wow. Until finally his eyes become to close. We see in dramatic way in the stage we pass to once. We recognize that we have lost the way first. We are afraid to be bewildered. Second, and this is where Dante's is the moment we are convinced that we are hope. Dante's experience hope and rising of the sun, which we see the glimmer of the light over the hilltop. He thinks to seize the way out of the dark wood, out of the problem into which his life has decided. How often men talk themselves into thinking what they can solve their problem in their own, never ask direction. Than this, like we tell ourselves that we can calm down. It will all fine. We know just what we need to do to get back on the right path. Misplaced confidence fill our heart like velar maker. New Year resolutions while filled with a campaign. We mean them when we say them, and saying them give us a warm glow inside. How many of our bold resolutions come into nothing almost immediately? Think of the alcoholic swearing off the drink. Or adulterer who say he'd never be faithful to his wife again. They might mean that they say, but what would you predict about their future? When we recognize the things are going badly and we are wondering of the path why is it so difficult for us to get back on it? Unfortunately, the answer to that question is not some external force to obstacle. It is something self-generated that arises from within us. In the spiritual life, we are often our own worst enemies. Our good resolutions, our carefully designed plans, after failed as a result of the self-sabotage. The beast inside us keep us from doing what we are devoutly planted. Saint Paul called it the old man. Whatever we call it, we know it lurks inside of us. Rough are good intention. Dante's confidence isn't short-lived, just where the steeper rise began. Just when he faced a challenge that will make a real demands on him. He stopped on the track when Dante's began his ascent up the hill. Towards the light, leopard blocked his way. The beast's intentions and desire to rafted by the beast, that is the symbol of the vice of loss. Wow. Here we see once Dante's important literary device is struggle with particular beast here, and the trial of a certain circles of hell, and trace the purgatory as the sort of personal revelation. He struggle with those beasts and those places dedicate to the sin infect him. Some are circle we are breezed through because those sins did not weigh upon his conscience. As a result, Dante's journey is almost like very personal examination of conscience, exposes to us the weakness in his souls that stand between him and the true holiness. The first of this impediment is loss, embodied by the leopard, prevent him from making any progress of the hill. No matter how Dantes tried to go around the leopard, he cannot. The leopard stalked him, checked me in the path I trod. Don't our weakness is temptation. seems to track us the worst possible time, it is easy to feel like a prey, being stalked by the predator. Getting away from the habitual sin is not easy as it sounds. Those who do not suffer from the habit do not really understand the habit can lead us suffering, helpless, like a small animals held at bay of the craft hunter. Hi Arhan. Dante's personal sins are blocking his spiritual progress. Any hope he had escaping the leopard is dishwashed. When the lion entered the scenes as well, the lion is the symbol of pride, and perhaps also of the anger. Makinig ka lang, The lion is the heart of wrath, and it's the coming straight for him. As an exile, Dantes is filled with resentment and rage, and what he perceives to be grave injustice inflicted by his own political foe. While see of many distance Dante's struggle with this fault. The third beast to the Black Dante's progress is she-wolf, emaciated, driven by hunger, both personal and on behalf of her offspring. To do whatever he takes to get a prey, she is a symbol of greed and virus of stuffed with a man of craving. Against an exile, Dantes would be particularly troubled by the loss of material good he left behind and by the desire of re-establish his former standard living. Things that we can manage on our own thinking. That is our duty to manage our own. In a numerous stumble block and a spiritual life, the path of trying to follow a supernatural behind the abilities, it is the foolish pride to insist what we can do it ourselves. Most spiritual writers recognize the transformation happen in us the moment we realize that we cannot trust our own power, no matter how painful the experience might be. For some people, especially those who do not acknowledge God, self-distrust can lead to the feeling of despair. We can try everything, we have done everything in our power, and it does not work. We have nowhere else to turn. But for the believer, learn to distrust ourselves can open us up to trusting the power of God. We will never learn to receive from Him the grace we need so long as we are obsessed with strategizing and copying. But what we are comfortable bit of our self-knowledge is It is to see that we cannot be dependent upon our own power. This is a sort of knowledge that we must almost away acquired by a painful experience of trying and failing, and trying to failing yet again. It is something we see only when we are fact first the third. We discover that we need help. That is a profoundly mumbling. Dante's self-confidence is turned into despair. It is the she-wolf finally who is weighed Dante's spirit down to her give up hope of reaching the hilltop. Like a gambler who knows when he cut his loses lives. And the table, Dante's give up hope and turned back into the dark valley from which he had struggled to escape. This turning back is not necessarily a bad thing if Dante recognized that he cannot make progress on his own. Give us a spiritual journey that is a disaster. Thank you. Mag-live ako sa kabila. I-download ko lang sa YouTube to.
Mag-live ka kasi.
Ha?
Live ka?
Mag-live ako dun sa Joanne of Arc.
Sige.
Yeah. I-download ko lang to sa sa Facebook. Then, nag-live na ako sa kabila. Download ko lang sa Facebook to. Sa YouTube.